It's AR, the equalizer, the data scientist of boxing, spinning the block for another breakdown. Let's get into it. In this video, we're going to be highlighting the skill pillars of Saul Canelo Alvarez, Guadalajara, Mexico's own Saul Canelo Alvarez. Yes, I know it's a lot of people that love Mr. Canelo and it's a lot of people that hate him. But guess what? AR the equalizer is Mr. Unbiased Shawty. A lot of people getting at me about these video breakdowns I did on Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence Jr. Oh, you picking this side. Oh, you underrated this dude. Oh, you just biased against Terrence Crawford. You got something against Terrence Crawford and you got something against Spence. Man, cut it out. It's all unbiased. I'm a fan of boxing, yo. I'm a fan of boxing, yo. I'm not a fan of man. I'm not a fanboy. I've been studying this sport since I was 12 years old. I will be 30 in August of this year. You do the math. That's 17 years strong of analyzing this sport. And by the way, I do box. You dig? But with no further ado, we're going to break down Saul Canelo Alvarez's skill pillars. If you are familiar with the channel, there is 4 skill pillars, which is form, then we have physical capabilities and conditioning, then we have intangibles, and last but not least, strategy execution. With all of those, with everything, with all of those sub-skill components within the skill pillars, which I rated for Canelo Alvarez, we've aggregated an average skill rating overall measurement of 92.19%. It is high. I know a lot of you are probably thinking like, man, what's up with this guy and rating dudes at 92%? But if you pay attention, open your eyes, open your ears, shut your mouth, and just listen, it all makes sense. We're going to look at the resume of Canelo. We're going to look at the resume of Canelo, man. He's been fighting pro since he was 15 years old. He's been fighting pro since he was 15 years old. He's been knocking guys out and getting victories for a long time. Up until 2013, September 14th, against the great Floyd Mayweather Jr., lost the majority decision, which, in my opinion, that was a complete shutout. But his first real test was, I guess you could say, Jose Miguel Cotto. It's a lot of fanatics who will argue, what was his real, it was Matthew Hatton, or it was the Gomez fight. It was Kermit Cintron. It was Shane Mosley who was his first real test, in which I believe Shane Mosley really was the first real test to see the gauging stick as to where this knockout artist, this vibrant red hair Mexican ranks among the best of the best, and steady beating guys up until, getting a Floyd Mayweather fight. But anyway, we're going to get into the form of Canelo Alvarez, which I have rated overall at a 97.5%, which is a solid A. He does have great form, and the skill components within the skill pillar of form is boxing stance, proper footwork, hand positioning for defense and offensive attacks, proper punch form, right? And a lot of those skill components, like he's elite. I know a lot of people may say, oh, well, he's used clenbuterol in the past. He's tested positive for PEDs in the past. He's a drug cheat. He shouldn't even be, you shouldn't even be rating this guy. You shouldn't be giving him no type of credence whatsoever. I understand it, but at the same time, like that was back 2017, 2018, the last time he popped dirty. Since then, man, he's been clean. I understand, you can cycle off and cycle on with PEDs, but this is not the channel for that, man. I'm just rating this man's skill set, and what I see and what we all could agree on is that his form is pretty top notch. I give his boxing stance 100%. Canelo does have elite stability, a foundation from the orthodox stance, maintaining balance in posture consistently. I've never seen Canelo wobble. Maybe earlier in his career, right? Maybe earlier in his career at welterweight against I don't even know the guy's name, but it was very early in his career. Since then, we haven't seen Canelo just visibly damaged and hurt and on shaky legs. This guy has 61 fights. Well, let me check the record because people are correct. He has 63 total fights. I'm sorry, not 61, but 63. For he is 59 wins, 2 losses, 2 draws. You know what I mean? 63 total fights. And out of all of those fights, we could only name one that, he's wobbled a little bit, in which that's a fight that he still ended up winning. And he closed the round. He finished the round. He showed great composure. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. The guy's boxing stance is 100%. Moving on. We have proper footwork, which I rated a 95%. Solid A. For Canelo understands foot positioning for cutting off the ring against elusive opponents, effective counterpunching, and setups for power shots. Footwork plays a major role in setting up any punch and throwing any punch. Footwork is a key component. A key component. If your foot positioning isn't right, the punch might not land with as much power and force as it possibly could. Canelo, he understands footwork. He understands stepping over to get that crazy looping left body hook shot off that he famously loves to do. He loops it to where he can sell it as a body shot or an uppercut. You know what I mean? But he's always taking that left foot step over just a tad bit, maybe an inch or two, to get full leverage and punching range to where it could be devastating on whoever it lands on. So I think we could all agree on a 95% proper footwork. This isn't to be confused with foot speed. I'm not saying that he's the fastest, foot guy in the ring. You know what I mean? I never said that. I'm just strictly speaking on, setting your foot in position for cutting off the ring and effective counterpunching and setups for power shots. Moving on. We have hand positioning for defense and offensive attacks, which I rated at a 98%. A solid A, close to an A+. Y'all are probably thinking like, man, this dude, he's a Canelo fanatic. He's a Canelo fanatic. Like, how are you rating him so high? You know what I mean? But you got to think about it. A lot of champions at the championship, a lot of boxers at the championship level, I mean, that form, all of their forms are great. It's very few guys that we see at the championship level with bad form or average form. Everybody should have good form at the very pinnacle of the sport. You know what I mean? Because if you don't have good form, nothing else will flow. You feel me? So before y'all attack me in the comments and say I don't know what I'm talking about or I'm tripping or whatever, just think about it. You know what I mean? Like, we have amateurs for a reason. We have, you know what I'm saying? Like, we have the lower 1,000 ranked boxers for a reason, the 500 ranked percentile boxers for a reason, the 100 percentile boxers, the 50th percentile boxers, the top 25, the top, and so on and so forth. We have championship level boxing for a reason. It's levels to this. And when it comes to Canelo Alvarez, I see him as an A, close to an A plus when it comes to hand positioning, because you will never see him not disciplined, not remembering to retract his hand, right? Not remembering to retract his hand if he throws a left hook. If he's throwing that left hook, the right hand is on the cheekbone. Always. It's on the cheekbone. Or it may be high to cover that temple. You know what I'm saying? Or if he's throwing a straight right hand. You know what I mean? That left hand is on his cheekbone or on the temple. One or the other. Even if he's walking you down, you know, putting on that Jason mask and walking you down in the ring, he still has both hands up. And as a matter of fact, he has this thing that he's been doing for the past few years where he'll take a step, is like as he's stepping in, he's bringing up the high guard to his temple. But once he gets set and see that the opponent is not going to throw anything, he brings his hands back down to his chin for an attack. And then he'll keep walking in that sequence, high guard to the chin, high guard back to the chin with both hands up. I mean, this guy has superior understanding of punch retraction for defense against counter punch openings or any type of opening. Whether you're trying to be first on him, his hands are always at home. I mean, that's not to say that Canelo doesn't get hit. In a sport of hitting and not getting hit, you're going to get hit. It's going to happen. But how often are you getting hit? You know, is it excessive? To a point to where, you know, you're losing rounds. And I agree, you know, Canelo, he does give up a lot of rounds because, you know, he's a counterpuncher. That's just his strategy. That's his style. He's looking for a big shot to land because he's not trying to waste energy. You know what I mean? But it's not to say that his hand positioning isn't elite. 98%. Moving on. We have punch form, which I rated at a 97%, which is a solid A. For Canelo has elite and consistent routine of rotating fist for proper snap of punch in tandem with torso and hip rotation to properly distribute power and force of punch. Canelo, he's elite with this, man. Proper punch form. The James Kirkland knockout, the Amir Khan knockout, so many fights to where he's demonstrated over and over he can land a flush shot and you might be out. It might be lights out. You know what I mean? But that's not just to highlight his power. Even if he's not knocking a guy out or visibly hurting the guy, still is you're going to feel the punch. You know what I mean? The better your punch form, the more harder and sturdier it is. The more snappier it is, and it will snap your head back and do some type of damage, right? Next, we're going to move on to the next skill pillar, which is physical capability / conditioning, which I rated overall at a 90.85%, which is an A-. Canelo, he's a strong guy. You know, he has great endurance. He has, you know, great overall strength, good punching power, hands. Like he has it, man. And you know, shout out to one of the guys, man. One of the guys on YouTube, man. I forget his name, man. I wish I had the freaking video pulled up so I could shout you out. But man, somebody recommended that I add punch resistance as a criteria, you know, and I thought about it. And I'm like, you know what? Punch resistance, that is something that can be measured. You know, so we're adding punch resistance to the physical capabilities and conditioning skill pillar. And, you know, Canelo, man, he has a solid chin. He's never been dropped. He's never been dropped. He's only been physically wobbled once. You know, it says a lot. So, you know, the first skill component we get into is stamina, which I rated at a 85%, which is a solid B. For Canelo has lung capacity for high volume punching and movement around the ring, but is it elite? Just gauging from an overall standpoint throughout his career, he has good stamina. Like he can throw, but is it an A? No.